Whoa.
Well, yeah. And I am looking forward to the first dinner in a week or so in the Grove, where I'm sure because of the new rug that the food will taste better than it ever has. So, and I'm told the aroma from the glue is really interesting. So we'll see how it goes.
Happened to me.
They've had fans running for 2 days with the doors open in there to dissipate that.
The aroma. Yep,
Yeah.
yep. Back in the good old days with a certain type of glue, that was a big thing to do. You'd open up the tube and take a few whiffs and be in seventh heaven. Probably not this type of glue.
No.
Oh,
All righty.
okay.
Okay, so
We're
we've
waiting
got,
for a few.
let's see if I can keep all this stuff cleaned up. All right, so, okay. Well, we've got a lot of fun things to talk about today. So I hope make it interesting for you and have you guys join in. Let's see if I get my stuff organized here. We got, okay. And let's see. Here we go. Here we go. Let's see. Well, I'm gonna let a few other people just sort of join us. We only have, we got 14. I guess that's okay. One of the fun things that happened this week when had all that cold weather up north, it caused some of the other animals to have to come out and look for some food. So, have you heard of Hank the Tank? Well, let me show you. Here's Hank the Tank. Hank the Tank was a 500-pound bear, and he's been breaking into all these homes up in the Tahoe area. So you just look at that guy. He's pretty broad.
He didn't hibernate.
He didn't hibernate, no. A bear, he breaks into homes for food. I guess he's got used to living off the land there, so it goes by many different names, and everyone can agree the bears roaming around South Tahoe has become a problem. For the last 7 months, caused property damage, broken into 30 homes in the waterfront Tahoe Keys house. And if actually some of this guy took a picture of him up there in the tree. So they started looking at him and they said, and he actually has his own Facebook following. And then they started checking on him and they said, wait a minute, the last break-in was from a female bear, had different DNA. So they just said, the Department of whatever works notified us that suspicions has proved that Hank is not responsible, so they weren't going to kill him. And so there's 3 other bears who've been joining him, I guess. So but he was getting the rap. So 2 of the other bears were female. So they're all having fun. So this is the kind of news I rather read than listen about the wars and up over in the Ukraine and all the crazy things they're doing over there. So it's just not fun to hear about all the people, the thousands and hundreds of thousands of people who are just leaving Ukraine now to find a place to live because they don't want to be bombed out of their house, and who knows, they don't want to become part of the Russian whatever it's going to be.
No.
So it's a terrible thing to do.
No.
So let's see. We have a couple of things we want to talk about. I hope Nadine can join us today.
I'm here.
Hi,
Hi.
Bob. I'm on the call.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay, good. I haven't put in the gallery yet, so we had the big front porch presentation on Wednesday, and it was very very informative. We had let's see, there's Nadine. A lot to talk about, but a lot of it was standard. They have to tell us why they're up increasing our rates, and this year it's more than it has been, and that's kind of hard to take, but they're showing that they trying to keep the budgets going, and this was the first time we had a presentation that included the new communities up north from Covia. So looks like it's going to be a bigger and bigger company, or whatever we call it, a corporation. And we got a lot of different missions, I guess. But still the residential communities are the biggest part of it. And they also have a lot of memory care and skilled nursing. And it's interesting because skilled nursing, the occupancy was sort of flat. The residences went way down during the pandemic, and they're slowly building up. And it's going to take a while before we get back up to that 90% occupancy or better. At one time, we were 95, 96, something like that. So, and that occupancy rate is what keeps our rates down. So it's going to be hard to recruit those folks if they don't feel that they're going to get a good deal and this is the right place to be. And it's hard for us to sort of portray the same image because all our social activities and all those other kinds of things have changed quite a bit. And wearing masks isn't any fun, and we'll probably have to wear them for a while. And of course, it's wonderful to have new carpet in the dining room, but it wasn't fun to go back and eat in our rooms anymore. So we'll have to figure out how to do that. And I'm going to talk a little more about some of those things, the topics that came up about that. Then, of course, we had the birthday show on yesterday, and Sonny Leland was the musician who played various styles of bebop and not boogie woogie. I'm sorry, not bebop, and showed how it related to some of these other things coming out of the jazz of the New Orleans and Kansas City and Chicago and so forth. It's a shame, though, that the music system wasn't working very well. So his spoken words and trying to explain things wasn't very clear across the room. And I'm not sure that the people in the back could really hear it and follow it. But I just hope they work on that, get that whole thing fixed up, so we can really get the money's worth of all the concerts and the shows and everything else we do there. Next week, we've got Mardi Gras coming up. I haven't heard what the details of that are going to be, but it's March 1st, and then March 2nd is we have Ash Wednesday for most of the Christians, and I guess they'll be doing that around in the morning sometime. We'll probably hear more about that. So make sure those are on your calendars. We have, I guess, a lot of the other things, but let me give Nadine a chance to talk. So she has probably a lot of things burning on her mind, and I'd like to hear what she has to say. Nadine?
Hi, everyone. We have a memo out to you this afternoon. So I'd like to highlight a couple of things that are brand new to this week. First of all, we have one positive case. It's a resident. The resident is having very mild symptoms and will quarantine in the apartment. Secondly, I want to clarify the current mask policy. I emailed our Orange County Public Health nurse this week to get clarification. I know the CDC came out with new guidance today. However, that doesn't quite affect us the same way because we have a vulnerable population. So currently the mask requirement is that indoors it's still required unless you're eating and drinking. And then outdoors it is optional. You don't have to wear a mask outside in the community when you're walking around Walnut Village. It's optional. Are there any questions about that? Okay. Then the dining room, thank you for being so patient this week. The carpet project got done very quickly, early. However, the odor was really strong, and you might even notice it tomorrow night when you go back into the dining room. We have been doing our best to air it out and run fans in there, but it's carpet glue and it does linger in the air for a bit. So thank you for being patient. We wanted to make sure it was safe for you all and the staff to come back. So we will reopen the dining room tomorrow evening. Hope you've made reservations. And with that, I have some announcements to make about guests. You've all been asking about that for some time now, and we are ready to reopen for guests. So beginning with the dining room, we have dedicated 4 top tables for yourself and some outside guests by reservation only. So please let the host know if you'd like to reserve a table there. Then we've also dedicated some tables in the Red Chair Lounge for guests. It's the 5 tables just outside of the billiards room, so adjacent to the billiards room. And we are putting guest signs on those tables so you know that they are reserved for residents and guests. We have pulled the card tables away a little further towards the lockers so that there is 6 feet distance between those tables. So the current guidance from public health is that if outside guests are dining with residents, they have to be 6 feet away from other residents. So please keep that in mind. And then we have also opened up the vault for reservations. So if you'd like to have a small get together with family or a birthday party or whatnot, you can reserve the vault. And it's by reservation, and please call Ernest to make those reservations. And then lastly, earlier this week, I announced that we are allowing guests outside at the bistro, and that's unlimited. So you don't have to make a reservation. It's breakfast or lunch, unlimited. And as long as there's seating out there, feel free to bring your guests and order food from the bistro, and they'll serve it to you.
If there's a charge for the vault, you should really state that.
Any questions so far?
Oh, that all sounds great.
Yep. Great. Yep.
Is that true?
Good. I think that about covers it. Oh, we've also included Saturday night to our cocktail schedule. So up until now, it's Monday through Friday, and upon request, we're making it available now on Saturday nights as well. We've found a volunteer to cover tomorrow night, but we will need a volunteer moving forward for Saturday night. So we're opening it up as of tomorrow.
Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, that's really great news. The visitor dining was a really a tough thing to deal with when family and visitors, friends and couldn't join us, or had to brown bag it into the rooms and stuff like that. That wasn't much fun. So unless you are one of the folks who are a great cook and you like to prepare meals in your apartment and all that kind of stuff, that's one thing. But it's I'd rather enjoy the luxury of having Walnut Village do all that services for us. So that's great news. And then the next thing, of course, is seeing the bistro open for dinner and having maybe more guests over there too. So I guess it's just a matter of getting those people hired and trained and so forth. Okay. We had I'm not sure how many of people who attended the front porch meeting on Wednesday. Besides the regular presentation, there's a good Q&A period that ran almost a half an hour or more, and several points were brought up, and I wanted to just sort of let you guys discuss them here with Nadine present, so you can let your feelings known. The first one that I think it was brought up by Louis, and it had to do with the hot water. Our hot water system for some people isn't very nice because it takes 5 or many minutes more to get it up to speed where you can use the water either for taking a shower or bath or something. And looking at that collectively, that's a lot of wasted water going down the drain, where we're in a terrible drought, and pretty soon somebody's going to say, hey, Walnut Village, you're going to have to cut back on your water usage, and we don't want that to happen. So I don't know if it's a simple maintenance problem, or it's more a engineering redesign problem because of the way the water flows from the sources to the different pipe distributions and the way they branch out and all that kind of stuff. I'm not a pipe plumber at all, but we got a lot of questions there. Judy?
I'm wondering if we could ask Ethan if he's if he's aware of the problem, and could we establish a recirculating system? I know that it's expensive, but in the long run, it would save water and it would make everybody happy. It's been a problem since we moved in 2009, and it's been discussed every year, and it's never been resolved.
But it's only for a limited number of people. And I don't know if
I think you'd have to do a survey on that.
I don't have a problem. I know that.
You don't? Okay.
Okay.
We're on the first floor.
No, okay, so
I'm on the second floor. I have it. It's in the pool on the first floor, in the swimming pool.
yeah.
Recording from Judy.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Ethan, do you want to try to take a stab at that?
Mac has a question.
No,
Okay.
I was just going to say that most of your hotels and people like that, many floors have circulating hot water systems, and you get almost instant hot water from them because it's continually circulating. The pipes are insulated well so that you don't lose much heat. There's a little power to run the pumps, but it's much more efficient.
Well, there's several solutions. One is remote heaters, and in the areas where you're so far away from the original source of heat, they have little heaters where you use the water, and then there's a continuous circulation. But that, of course, adds to the cost of the energy used to keep the water because you're using more heat and so forth.
No, it circulates constantly. It doesn't take additional heat.
No.
See what Ethan has to say.
Yeah, Ethan, do you have any comments, or are you up to speed on this?
Well, It's was just brought up to my attention about a week ago, so I'm just barely getting understanding of it. And our system does have a recirculating system. Now, if it's working properly, that I have to find out. If it was designed properly, I also have to find out about that as well. Considering that you've experienced this since 2009, maybe it wasn't designed properly. So I do have some research to do and check in on that. And I am going to be coming around to several units to do some surveys and see for myself how long the water is taking. So if you guys can, bear with me a little bit and give me a little time on it, then I will have some answers for you.
Would you like to have some of the residents, if they are having problems, to send you an email or something like that? So you have just
Absolutely.
a place to go to? Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
That
I
would
hope
be very helpful.
you can pass that on, and folks who have some knowledge of the subject, help when get started. So that can be a good way of giving him more knowledge as opposed to having to dig it out all by himself. Yeah. Okay. Sounds like we got a way of working there. The other part was the point system that we use for meals was brought up. I guess the conversation started with the Howe. Joan Howe said she was really upset because the little tickets that we get had a lot of errors in them, and they had to keep chasing them down, and it didn't feel like that was the kind of work that she wanted to do. And she said, well, why do we have a point system? And I think Judy's response was very good. That she said that where she had observed at another facility, the point system helped for planning how much people were using the dining facilities, and that helped for planning the number of meals they had to prepare and so forth. And I don't know, but I'm hoping that the data they get from collecting this point system is used for some analysis to show trends of if certain meal menus are popular and others are avoided, or those kinds of things. That's a little below the point system. That's actually getting into the data that they collect on those tickets. But so one of the issues was brought up was the can we give away our points to our friends and neighbors if they want them, because we're at the end of the month and we have excesses, and the other people at the table don't, and because they've been eating a lot or whatever, taking extra desserts or something like that. So we sort of do that, but it was a very informal policy. And then I noticed Nadine had mentioned in one of her recent memos that they did say it was okay to give your points away to your friends and neighbors. But you had to call or let Maria or the boss,
Cassandra.
Yeah,
Carmen.
Yeah, and I was thinking maybe what we should have if there's if it's going to be a regular practice, just have a little form that they could have at the host desk or something, and you just identify who you are and what points you want to give to whoever it's going to be for a given date. And that way they could wouldn't have to chase down all these people. And of course, it's creating more paperwork, but
Yes,
it might be an easier way of doing it. Yeah. Judy?
Yeah, I'd like to add that we don't see Carmen very often, or Maria. We usually tell the server, and Carmen and Maria are not around to be told that we want to move the points. So I'm wondering if it's okay to tell the server.
Yeah, I would recommend that we have some kind of a note that we do that. I don't think you want to do it on emails and everything else, but if they had a little form they could recognize, make it easy for us. And that way, if there's any question, then, you've authorized those points to somebody else.
Bob, I think if we had a better understanding of what the capability of this new electronic system is, it may be a relatively easy thing to do for even the servers. But I think that we're all ignorant of how that system works and what its capabilities are. And it may be a very easy, simple thing for them to do.
Well, I think what they just simply enter the edit the entry for you and add points, whatever in the system. So that's how.
Bob, there are certain functions that only managers can do, that only managers are allowed to do. So this would likely fall under that category.
Okay.
But I can speak with Kim about putting in a system that would make it easier for residents to make that request.
Yeah.
You don't have to hunt anybody down.
Maybe
Okay.
that'd be the host desk, maybe a place to do it.
Yeah, well, I think
Yeah.
that would be the logical place to do it. Yeah. The other question, and Judy, do you have another one?
Well, human behavior is such that you don't know you're going to give your points away until you actually are at the table. If you're with people, you don't know who needs points until you get to the table.
That's true.
And so at that point, we need to be able to tell someone. We don't know ahead of time.
Yeah. Unless you're in the lounge or something and discussing it and all that kind of stuff. But you're right. There's, if you're sitting at the table and says, who needs points? I have too many of them.
Right.
So that's probably the right way. So the server has to probably have a authority for, taking care of that for you. Related to that is the question whether or not can we roll over points? And where is that is that an issue for accounting and all kinds of other stuff? Why can't we just have a rollover system like we have for vacation days and other kinds of stuff for most companies? Got any ideas from that, Nadine?
I know that there's been talk about it in the past. None of the front porch communities are allowed to do it. It is a billing logistical nightmare because it's very tedious to track. As you all remember, before we got this more sophisticated system a couple of years ago, our dining room manager would spend majority of his time just tallying up points for residents to let them know, how many points they had left for the month. But it literally ate up most of his time where he just didn't have time to do anything else. So it's not a good use of labor. It's just, it's highly unlikely that it will ever happen. That's what I'm told. But it doesn't hurt to ask.
I don't see it as a thing that the host would have to do. It's more like accounting, because I mean, if we don't pay our bill, it goes on next month's bill as money, dollars owed, and everything else. I don't know why they couldn't roll over the credits from the prior month in an accounting type of transaction.
Yeah.
Judy?
I think, as I mentioned at the meeting, the point of the reason for the 90 points is stability and predictability. And at my father's place, they didn't know how many servers to hire and how many cooks to hire because they didn't know how many people were going to be there. And the 90 points gives you stability to be able to plan ahead. If you start rolling them over, you lose that stability.
Well, if they roll a large amount of it, and if you roll over, up to maybe 5 or 10 points, just give them a cap, that kind of stuff. No, all righty. I'm just bringing it up. You guys are the ones who I usually break even on my points, so it's not an issue for me, but it is for some of you folks. Let me hear from you. Okay. All righty. Well, the other issue that we started to talk about, but we never finished, and Judy brought this one up again, was the paperwork problem. We got too much paperwork for our communications. And a lot of folks here are not ready to go to use electronics, digitals, and other kinds of things. And using the touchtown system, the in-house videos, the audio video system is, we have it, but we only use a very small piece of it. And that would require a culture change for the staff to make more use of audiovisual methods for communicating rather than just sending out a memo. That may be more work, I don't know, maybe less work, I don't know.
Many
Bob,
people-
I have a suggestion.
Yeah,
We do have quite a few residents who use email regularly. What we could do is those residents who would like to have it emailed as opposed to a paper copy could submit their email to us. And moving forward, we can make sure that those residents get an email copy only. And that will cut down on some of the paper.
Right,
okay.
okay.
I think that's a good start.
It's a
Yes,
Good idea.
Judy?
The reason I brought it up, and maybe I was a little obtuse, but I was trying to get to the point that the electronics are the problem. That, for instance, I have terrible audio in my office. I have to be in the kitchen in order to not have the audio break up. And that seems to me has to be a problem with our high Wi-Fi in the building. And so that's what I was trying to get them to hear, is that our Wi-Fi is not serving us well in many places. And they didn't respond to that concern. And
Yeah.
so when I suggested they hire an outside consultant, I was trying to say, you guys are not taking care of the problem for us.
Okay, yeah, I tried to do an internet survey, before Christmas, I guess it was. And it took about a month just to get 50% of people respond to it. And you could see trends. And the part of the issue I learned a lot from it, but I don't know that I could carry it forward into any actionable items because we're at the mercy of the front porch IT department. They're the
Well,
ones.
That's the point. They're not serving us.
They.
Why should I have to be in the kitchen in order to use my computer?
That's right. They make sure that the staff has good connections so they can do their business and do their work. But it seems like the attitude for front porch as a service to the residents is it's an extra. It's not a requirement. Although it's part of our rental agreement and everything else. And folks who think that it's important have gone and actually installed services from AT&T and everything else to bypass the front porch internet because they're not getting good service from their connections.
Bob,
Yeah.
Judy, have you reported your issue to Sandy?
This is a relatively new problem, and I have not. I just got a laptop and I'm playing around and trying to understand how to use it. The problem was starting to show up on the desktop that I had. But now that I have the laptop, with the desktop, I had no option of moving to the kitchen. But now that I have the laptop, I find that my audio is much improved when I move closer to the receiver in the hall.
Yeah.
And so I haven't talked to Sandy about it, and maybe a router will help. I don't know if that will solve the problem or not.
Okay. The process is if you have, if you're, and this goes to anybody on this call, I'm not sure if anybody else is having issues, but we have been successful in helping other residents resolve their issues. And it's not necessarily just through Sandy. You start with her, and then we have a representative, Frank, from NetPros. Some of you might have met him. And then we escalated up onto our Front Porch IT. But I know that we've been successful in resolving issues for other residents on an individual basis. So I want just to, make that clear to everybody here. If you're having an issue, please let Sandy know immediately, and she will start to help with the process. And like I said, we will escalate it as high as we need to. We want to make sure that you're getting good service.
Okay, that's reasonable. The key thing was if our Wi-Fi, the Walnut Village Wi-Fi, depends very much on where your device is relative to the access point that's usually in the hallways. And if you're 30 or 40 feet away or more, the signal strength is too small to give you strong
Wi-Fi node.
So we one of the solutions to that is to have the resident pay for a router that uses the cable, and the cable and router creates your own Wi-Fi, your personal Wi-Fi, and that can be as good or strong as whatever and located wherever you want. And all I gotta say is don't buy the cheapest router. The $50 routers are marginal. You get to the $100 and above routers, you are in great shape. And I had to go through that myself just recently. Sandy is not gonna necessarily help you find the right solutions, but she can report the problems to the people who are responsible for the services. And one of the main issues, I guess, so the current solutions are to have people switch off of Walnut Village Wi-Fi and start using the cable either directly into your desktop. But if you want to use the cable for a TV or something else, you only got one connection. So then you have to, split that connection into multiple connections, and the router does that also. So usually the router is the best common solution for those things. Maybe we should have some kind of a meeting to discuss this in a more question and answer format, so we can help the people. And if the people really are trying to do that. Okay, so I didn't understand Judy's issue about as an infrastructure problem or as a device communications. I was thinking more of we don't have the culture of using electronics, emails and web services and so forth. And the other one, of course, is audio visual. Nadine is already looking into an upgrade to the Touchtown system for people who have customized their TV reception and cannot get on channel 80, 81, whatever it is. So it's called the concierge system. And as part of the concierge system, it has an app that can run on your phone or your computer. So you can have access to that audiovisual system. So then we could, if we had more people with access, then that could be a much broader use method of communications of different announcements and schedules and what's going on and places to turn to for where the outings are going to be and who signed up for this and that, and all kinds of other communications, not just for the front office and the wellness center, but I mean the gym and all the other lessons there. But Judy Marsh's areas too, and Judy's looking into other solutions separately, so she can try to figure out how to get good communications with us. So I think the plan is the concierge system will be looked at, and maybe a presentation given to some people here at the village and or a committee or something, or maybe the people of general interest, and see if that's a better fit. But it's a long-term change from how we're doing business today to better use of the technology that's available. Just like trying to get more people onto email and have them in the habit of checking it at least once a day, so forth. And like like it was said at the meeting, we probably need to have multiple systems, because if it's more convenient to use audiovisual, that's for some people. Other people, it's more convenient to use emails and so forth. And so others, they just have to, rely on paper. So any other comments on this, where you'd like to see it go, or what we want to should be doing? Okay. One of the things I wanted to try to do is help solve the problem when we get all this paper all the time, and it's sort of like, where was that I last saw? It was in a memo. No, let's see, what was the last grab and go policy? Where was that, and so forth. So what I'm going to try to do is go back to this little website I set up called the Village News site, and turn it into not just a communications blog, but it's sort of more of a reference for you. So some of the paper that you get, I will try to post it onto this so it becomes a reference. So it's just, see, what was the latest grab and go stuff? And I don't know where I put that piece of paper. So you can go to this website in the Village News, and under dining options, you can go to a page and you'll be able to see it. So I have things like for I'm doing it right now, so lay out how to reorganize that. So I'm not just telling funny jokes and other kinds of stuff, but to make it more like a reference basis. So it's sort of like a online handbook, okay? And like for the dining, I'd want to, keep the breakfast, lunch, alternate dinner menus, the backside. And so when you're ordering dinner or you want to plan something, you know what's available. And then of course the weekly menus too. So that the weekly handouts with the little matrix form. So you can look at them and says, it's different, because you remember when we go back to the bistro dining, we'll start thinking about, do I want to go to the menu, go to the Grove for lunch or dinner tonight, or I don't care what's on the menu, I'll go and use that other option. So it's nice to have those things. If you don't have the piece of paper and you got too much paper around the house, then this would be a helpful thing. I'd also like to try to extract certain limited data from the memos that Nadine puts out, so that you could have things like the latest visitor rules, the latest masking rules, the latest this or that kind of rules. And I don't want to plan to have to update it an awful lot, but if I see, oh, this is a significant change, I better scan that and put it in there in the up on the site. And so I'll have to come up with a page for policies and procedures or rules or whatever you want to call it. And then another reference I've always found was very convenient was Who's Your Neighbor? Those little charts that Ken puts out. Those are really helpful, and those can be up there in the web too. And last but not least, I'll try to get a resident phone listing with it shows your room number and maybe emails. I'm not sure. It all depends upon how much things change. And then a separate page, so maybe once a week or once a month, of the changes that occurred. Barbara Fentos was doing that for a while, and it was very helpful. And she put a listing down in the post. But it's kind of nice to have it on the website, because then if you're walking around or you're something like this, and you say, oh, what department was he in? Or I want to send him an email, but I don't have it in my contact list. You can go right to those places, look on the web and find out all that kind of information. It just makes it so much easier. And by maybe having people do a little more access to the web, they get to start thinking about, hey, maybe I really need a smartphone. I really need to use these things a little more than I have in the past. So that's, I'm trying to do that. Oh, and the other thing I was talking to Judy, maybe we'll actually add a page for the earthquake team. And we can figure out who's on the team, some of the latest bulletins and what's going on and so forth, and maybe some schedules and so forth. So the whole thing can blossom. I don't want to make it into a replacement for the employee handbook or anything like that, but it's just sort of a quick access to information that people should know, and it'll probably help a lot of the new residents too. So that's on my agenda for this coming month. Let's see. Let's have some fun. Let's. Oh, I know what I was going to talk about. Whoops, I didn't want to do that yet. I got to find this stuff before I get into that here. If you think you had a bad day while watching the news and all of this tough stuff, just take a look at this one and see how your day has gone compared to some of these little things.
You had a bad day, you take one down, you sing a sad song just to turn it around. You said you don't know, you tell me don't lie, you were gonna smile and you go for a ride. 'Cause you had a bad day, you take one down, you sing a sad song just to turn it around. You said you don't know, you tell me don't lie, you were gonna smile and you go for a ride. 'Cause you had a bad day, you take one down, you sing a sad song just to turn it around. You said you don't know, you tell me don't lie, you were gonna smile.
So that's see, I gotta get rid of that one. And let's see, I want to go to I was thinking, I heard about the weather was getting really bad up north. We had really crazy weather this week. And so I figured, well, first one day it was snowing, the other day it was hot, and so forth. Well, we had I'm trying to figure out how to transition to this. So I was looking, and I remember seeing in a paper that it's going to snow in Yosemite. And it says, oh, that's tough, because this is the time of year that they have the firefall in the horsetail file. So let me try to bring you up to speed on this one. I'm not sure how many people know about the horsetail files, but this is there's an old tradition in firefalls going all the way back in the 19th century where tourists saw a campfire in the top of this glacier point where they had a hotel, and they sit around and they'd sing songs and everything else. And when it was time to go to bed or they got all tired, they'd put out the campfire and then kick it over the edge and create this firefall, which is all these logs and timbers just going over the tip of Glacier Point. And pretty soon, the boys of the owner collected money from the tourists so they could get firewood on pack animals and bring it back up for the next night. And then the thing would continue. And that's how the original firefall was started. And it went on for many, many years until some park director says, we don't like this idea because you're using up all the wood here and creating all these unnatural effects. So nature made a compensation here, and they created this firefall by the sun creating an effect on Horsetail Falls, which is a regular waterfall. In combination of the water and the sunlight, certain times of day off the top of El Capitan created this effect. And that's what they call the firefalls of today. And this is a picture from last year, February 20th. So come on, down. So today, visitors can actually watch a natural firefall in Yosemite. And in the last couple of weeks of February, when it makes the sun makes horsetail files appear, look like it's on fire. And the story was, well, with all this snow and bad storms, and it wasn't going to happen this year. But let me show you a quick video, if it works. This is last year. You can see this is El Capitan, and here's the meadow, and all the people gathering down there.
We're not seeing what you see.
Oh, you're not? Okay, let me try to start it up again. What happened? See, darn it. Oh, here it is. Try it this way. You see that now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So, so the people gathering around, you can see all the cameras laid out and ready, waiting for the sunset to come. And this is in February last year, I believe. And they're really having a great time, even though it's COVID time and everything else. And I've never observed this myself, but what's happening here? Oh, okay. So
There it is.
There it goes. There it goes. So there's the sun coming over and the reflecting off the water, and all these. This is a very time lapse. So this is kind of interesting. Nature creating the phenomena that the man started. And I don't know if anyone ever heard about this before, but there's the falls down here, and it's spraying water and being illuminated by the sun. And that's pretty interesting, isn't it? So. All righty, so enough of that. So you can't quite see it this year because we were snowed out. But there's always going to be some other things. Okay, let's see. I got a few more minutes, so I'm going to try to do. Now, everyone's heard about shopping when you have, you can't really make it to the market, so you can have things delivered, or you can have curbside delivery and you pick it up and it's cheaper that way. Here's a new way of doing some shopping that I have not heard of before. And I hope you enjoy this. This is a shopping dog. She weighs the little vegetable and she takes his money. And there he is. No receipts or anything, but yeah. Oh, he says, I gotta get one more thing here. So I want some of these right there. Yeah, that one right there. Yeah. So he gets, and the lady gets over there and she takes the money and transaction completed. Then you can have a nice day and off he goes. So isn't that's a new version of shopping. All righty. Well, let's see. Getting pretty close to time when we have to go. Oh, I've got to show you. This is Bill Orr sent me this a while back, and I thought this is kind of interesting. So let me see if I can get this one done. No, it's not working. No, I got to find out how to make this thing work. Oh, here. File. Okay, here it is. Oh, stop. So this is a case where we need some lessons on how we should handle this. They had some tow truck drivers. Not doing a very good job. This is on a tow truck. Okay. Okay, one more. There we go.
Here we go, come on, over. Oh, go on, up and over. Right.
There we go. You didn't plan on this one.
Fuck me. You have to be kidding me.
So that's where I should have had a bad day, kind of. I should have played that one with that one. So okay, so we got to finish this off with our puns of the day. Okay, so let's see if I can set this up right. So this is This gives you some armor for if you have to go in and get in front of an audience and say, well, what are you gonna tell me today? What's really interesting? So we said, hey, want to hear my favorite potassium joke?
Yes.
K. Now, I don't know if you get this. K is the chemical symbol for potassium. So that's not much of a joke.
Oh,
Okay, anyhow, what did the clean dog say to the insect? Come on, you got to fix. Long time no flea. As opposed to no see, it's no flea. Okay, I don't want to explain these things really. Okay, here we go. What did the chicken do when he saw a bucket of fried chicken? It's rather obvious. He kicked the bucket. All right, here. What branch of the military accepts newborns? You got to know this one is the infantry. Okay, here. What's the king of all school supplies?
the eraser.
The ruler. Okay. What's the difference between a politician and a snail? It's rather obvious. One's a slimy pest and leaves a trail everywhere, and the other's a snail. Okay. Why did the cat frown when she passed the hen house? She heard foul language. All righty. What is a French cat's favorite pudding?
Moose.
Yeah, chocolate mousse.
Yeah.
There you go. Good, George.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the last one. Why shouldn't you trust atoms?
They always split.
That's possible. They make up everything. All righty. Well, it's enough for today. Hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions or suggestions, keep in contact with me or so forth, and we'll keep it on going. I have fun doing this, and it's
Thanks,
a lot of.
Bob.
I hope you enjoy it too.